it's been underreported a little bit by the council.
I'm certainly not going to go back onto duty to cooperate issues, particularly given that you prioritise the examination of York's local plan over mine.
Oh, yeah. In Oxford, indeed. No. That's that.
Yes,
no,
my apologies. Oxford over this examination.
I understand that, and as I do apologise. So sorry. The reason that I brought that up, and the reason that I wanted to try and add a bit of value, is that we've just heard that the councils are committed to working at Selby and York specifically, but presumably the other commissioning authorities for the SHMA are committed to working together. And so the question is, where's that written down? Because the addition to what we've just heard in the submission that Banks has made on this point is that there is a need, therefore, for commitment and monitoring of these numbers and joint working between these authorities, because the impacts will be felt beyond York's boundaries. And a tangible output of the duty to cooperate ought to be a mechanism within which the needs can be monitored jointly and delivered appropriately. And the reason I brought up Oxford was that Mr. McLaughlin was also there, not today but last week, and we spent a lot of time talking about how authorities working together can still come up with slightly nuanced approaches to delivering or understanding what the housing need is. But if they work together to understand how to deliver it, then it can be delivered. Of course, in Oxfordshire, they've got the Growth Board and they have aspirations for a joint plan. Not necessarily advocating that, could be worthwhile. But clearly what does need to happen is an understanding of the needs, where they're going to go, and part of the policy SS1 or somewhere in the monitoring, there ought to be a commitment to understanding that need into the future, because it's going to impact all those things we're going to talk about tomorrow, and how they're managed and delivered, rather than just necessarily understood from an academic point of view.
We answered these questions this morning.
Indeed, and I don't really want to go over that, so it will be on the video if you want to have a look later on. Mr. Johnson.
Sorry, sir. I think the point has been made already that I was going to make. Thank you.
So just in relation to those points, I'm just having some difficulties in finding which bit of the old paragraph 10 of the PPG is being relied upon in relation to the HMA.
It's the second paragraph under 2A10.
Yes.
Extent of housing market areas identified will vary, and many will in practice cut across LPA administrative boundaries.
What's the date of that version?
The version I have is 2013, but I did check it on the archive version.
I'm looking at the 2018 version, 2018-09-13, which doesn't say that.
No, but we're obviously operating, as the point you made, under the version issued at the time which the 2018, before the 2018 PPG was issued.
Fine.
And I know it's confusing, but unfortunately...
I knew that this was going to cause a problem at some point or other, but yes, it is right to say that in applying the policies of the 2012 MPPF, we are also considering what is set out in the PPG that supported it.
Thanks. I'm blaming the website, but that's the version it took me to when it said go to archived version. So thank you, MHCLG, yet again for another smooth operation of the PPG. Sorry, I'll keep that one to myself. So.
Yes, well, you might think that, but I couldn't possibly comment.
Is it Mr. Gomez? Do you identify that?
It is, thank you, sir. Ricardo Gomez on behalf of, from Hatch, on behalf of Barwood. I'll keep it really brief. Several of the points I was going to make have been made already. My first point is that the issues that we were talking about this morning in terms of DTC and the points that we've raised about the lack of evidence about how issues like commuting flows of people between areas the implications of the respective evidence bases of York and Selby in particular, really cut to the core of spatial planning across housing market areas, as we'll no doubt hear tomorrow, for example, on job numbers and the relationship with the labour force, whether the numbers are accepted to be right and represent full OANs with all of what that implies about those underlying population and labour force figures, is really critical. And we've looked but found and heard nothing this morning to suggest that, despite the fact that we do have evidence bases prepared by the same consultants, that sort of detailed analysis of the implications of the housing numbers and all of what underpins them has been considered in any thorough way at all. My second point, others around the table have done much more justice to reviewing the Selby OAN evidence than I have. I've only commented very briefly on the principle, really. But it is worth noting, and no doubt we'll pick up this point tomorrow on market signals, at least my reading of Selby's February 2019 evidence is that GL Hearn recommends an affordability uplift of 17%, which is higher than the 15% in the evidence for York. We'll pick this up, I'm sure, tomorrow in terms of the relative affordability problems that York and other areas face. Thank you.
Yeah, look, this is another one of those areas where things kind of, questions blend or issues blend into one another. And I think the detail about the numbers really is for tomorrow. Is there anything else? Then under, well, question 2.1, the housing market area questions from anyone that isn't the council. Mr. Arvin?
Having located the appropriately archived version of the PPG, paragraph 10 says the issues to be resolved through the duty to cooperate, which goes back to my earlier answer, which was that we've dealt with that this morning.
Yeah, I haven't got that up on my screen at the moment, but I will spend my evening finding that paragraph.
Okay then, if there is nothing else on that, then I think that we have concluded all the business that we were looking to get through today. So thank everybody for being helpful and getting through all that. It was a lot to do today, so appreciate that. And it's been a long day for some people. Tomorrow we will be looking at, just bear with me a second. Yes, indeed. So tomorrow we'll be looking at Matter 2, the housing strategy, and specifically the objectively assessed housing need. And it will be a 9 a.m. start in the morning, please.
Just before we do adjourn, is Carol around? Maybe the council might be able to help out. Do you know, is this room sort of locked overnight? I'm not going to leave my most prized possessions in here, but is it possible to leave some things in?
Yes, I believe it is.
Sir, can I just raise a procedural matter? Sorry, I'm over here. Mr. Elvin mentioned this morning the prospect of some additional forecast, as I understood
Yes.
it, an up-to-date forecast from Oxford Economics. I mentioned this to the council at lunchtime. We still haven't had today's statements of common ground from Highways England on the website. I'm just anxious that we're all going to be somewhat disadvantaged, and it's going to be a long day if we don't actually get this up-to-date information before we start tomorrow at 9.
It should have been going up on the website.
It is going up on the website. The website's on.
It's not. Nothing has been added to the website today.
It should be going up today. I'm sorry that the Highways hasn't gone on, but the Oxford Economics update should be on I think have we got some limited paper copies?
A paper copy would be very helpful, thank you.
Yes. But I suspect everybody will want one. I don't know how many we've got, but we can run some more off. Yes. You'll be relieved to hear it's not a 200-page document.
Okay, anything else then before we do adjourn for the evening? Very good. In which case then, the hearings are now adjourned to resume in this room tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Thank you.